It was around noon yesterday when the entire house was engulfed with flames, and it didn't take long before everything was lost, at which point Phil had received a call that nobody wants to get. Hi, Tanya and Nick. I'm outside here in front of the current Tri-County Humane Society, where there's a lot of excitement building up about a new building they're trying to build for the animals with the help of some generous donations. And this building behind me will ultimately meet the wrecking ball. Right here in the Ramsey County Care Center's parking lot is where the suspect's crime began. The suspect abducted a woman, forced her into her vehicle, and then told her to drive to her home, where he then sexually assaulted her. The St. Cloud State Huskies are off to a hot start so far this season with a 12-2 record going into conference play this weekend. And this ranking is giving them some national attention. I had the great honor and pleasure to travel along with some of America's biggest heroes for this fall's honor flight over to Washington, D.C. And seeing these veterans react to their monuments was moving, and it's an experience they will never forget. With the grand opening tomorrow, he's working a whopping 6 days a week to express his passion and break some barriers. With St. Cloud State athletes from a variety of sports helping tear down the Husky Dome, it marks the end of the winter. But there's a little more work involved than just turning off the air pressure. The 75-year-old man got off a bus at this transit center. In a matter of time, he was being beat up by another passenger who followed him off. In the case of a snow emergency, the city of St. Cloud suggests that you park your car on the correct side of the road by reading the signs carefully. Otherwise, your car might be missing in the morning. In Minnesota, opioid deaths are overall going down. But over here in South Minneapolis, the life of a 10-year-old girl was taken, and experts are saying there's a life-saving medication that everyone should have on them. The stabbing took place right here on a Green Line train last night, and the victim got the help that they needed because of the help of a passenger who dialed 911. Over 80 of America's most heroic war veterans filed onto a chartered flight.
Fire it up, Captain, let's roll!
To the nation's capital for a unique experience to honor Veterans Day.
Thank you, Lord, for this day you're giving us in Washington, D.C. These men and women have waited many, many years, some of them over 75 years, to see their memorials.
The trip gave World War II and Korean War veterans a chance to pay respects to the monuments they fought for decades ago.
I just didn't know what to expect. And I thought, well, it's going to be something different, but this is overwhelming. Yeah, it really is good. So much to be thankful for.
It's the goal of the Twin Cities Honor Flight to bring America's heroes where they've never stepped foot before.
All the war memorials were done so well.
This day gave these veterans a reason to smile, commemorate,
Now hear this. It's mail call, folks. Mail call.
and express their emotions.
Dear Grandpa John, thank you so much for your service.
I was really emotionally taken back by it all. It was just a great day and one that I'll remember forever.
The veterans were honored by the support and reminders from this day that they will be able to treasure for years to come.
It brings back some old memories about the people that I know that were in the service, and maybe some close people that passed away.
The day was a simple reminder that we salute our nation's flag to praise what these men and women sacrificed for all.
Oh, there's just so much to it. I mean, it gets to you. If I see the American flag, I could cry.
It was a day to honor America's past and to remember those who fought for our freedom.
We have so much to be thankful for.
With liberty
Thank you, Lord, for the blessings that you give us in this great country.
and justice for all.
All God's children say.
In Washington, D.C.,
Amen.
Tony Langfellow, UTVS News. With St. Cloud State athletes from a variety of sports helping tear down the Husky Dome, it marks the end of the winter. But there's a little more work involved than just turning off the air pressure.
3, 2, 1, pull!
If you were to drive by Husky Stadium right now, you'll probably notice there's a few less curves in the sky.
It's a team group effort, and a lot of sports, a lot of club sports, and you know, it's not an easy day.
What SCSU athletes know as Dome Takedown Day started at 6 a.m.
I think I'd rather be practicing.
and took 200 people to finish the process by 1 p.m. And there's plenty of work for everyone.
There's 6 massive sections sections. In each section, it takes about 120 people to move that section. There's 5,000 bolts, there's 10,000 plates, there's 26 cables that we're moving right now. Each cable, it takes about 75 people to move one cable.
St. Cloud State Athletics has been privileged to have this dome for 14 years, and it gives sports like football, soccer, baseball, softball, club sports, and others to practice and play year-round.
It is a luxury that we get this dome, so if we have to do it just one day, it's not too bad. It's just another day. We practice pretty early, so it's not that big of a deal to wake up an extra half an hour early.
This year's Dome Takedown Day was pushed back 8 days because of an unexpected snowfall in mid-April, and the athletic folks weren't disappointed with the change of date to procrastinate on the hard work.
It's really a group effort. We even had the athletic director, Heather Weems, out here this morning, and a couple of the assistant athletic directors out here, so it's like Heather calls it, all hands on deck kind of a day.
Although the hard work of pulling cables, folding tarps, and heavy lifting may not sound like fun, the athletes find a way to stay positive.
Having the teams that we have here, having the cohesiveness that we have is beautiful, and being able to kind of work with these people and get it all done is amazing. You know, we wouldn't be able to do it with any other group. So yeah.
From Husky Stadium in St. Cloud, Tony Langfellow,
1, 2, 3, go!
UTVS News. Minnesota winters are a lot of times more work than they're worth.
From November 1st to April 1st, we have overnight parking restrictions, which includes alternate side parking or a parking ban.
Especially when it comes to parking your car. It's just not easy, particularly when there's a snow emergency in your city.
In a perfect world, the operators would like to see no parking at all in the streets. Navigating a snowplow with a wing around parked cars is a huge challenge.
A snow emergency is declared by Public Works after 6 or more inches of snow has fallen, and it can last for up to 72 hours to make it easier for the plows.
The idea is if we have to have a snow emergency, cars are parked on one side of the road, the plows can get right up to the curb on the opposite side.
In the case of a snow emergency, the city of St. Cloud suggests that you park your car on the correct side of the road by reading the signs carefully. Otherwise, your car might be missing in the morning.
If your car is legally parked, there won't be an issue. It's when it's illegally parked. During normal times, non-snow emergency, it'll be ticketed. During snow emergency, it'll be ticketed and towed.
Here's how it works. On the night a snow emergency is declared by the city of St. Cloud, if the day of the month is an odd number, then you park your car on the side of the street with even addresses. And then even numbered days are the exact opposite. Otherwise, you could be in trouble.
I would suggest to move your car if you can. If you can't get it started, communicate with the tow company. If it's our company or another company going out there to work on the lot, try to work with them, because if you work with them, they'll work with you.
During the recent snow emergency, there were over 50 towed vehicles, and it can even be a safety issue for people. So it's key to know the rules.
You get to a point where even emergency vehicles, fire, police, ambulance, have a real hard time getting their apparatus through the streets if they're not plowed to the full width.
In St. Cloud, Tony Langfellow, UTVS News. Retail giant Walmart will stop selling products made by a manufacturing plant with a history of pollution problems. The perfect way to celebrate the holidays will be happening this Saturday right here in St. Cloud. The city of St. Cloud will be holding its 19th annual Winter Nights and Lights Parade. Investigators say a mistake by unqualified workers caused a deadly explosion at a Minnesota school. The blast leveled Minnehaha Academy in 2017, killing 2 staff members. With Thanksgiving just over a week away, the St. Cloud Salvation Army Shelter is getting ready for its annual Thanksgiving dinner for community members. Well, it's beginning to be that time of year again with the weather changing. Parking regulations in St. Cloud will be changing as well. Yeah, those are always going. I remember I was at a Lakers game, and they were playing the Timberwolves while the Timberwolves were wearing the Minneapolis Lakers.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yep.
The Lakers versus the Lakers. Well, that was kind of cool. The hunt is on for the Grinch stolen before Christmas. You heard that right. Someone snatched it right from a man's yard. Josh Stroman made this giant Grinch Christmas decoration by hand 3 years ago. And I'm Tony Langfellow. Thank you for joining us this evening. Well, tonight's top story: last Thursday, a sexual assault occurred on St. Cloud State University's campus, and it was reported on Monday that the victim was approached from behind. A 1-block stretch of road is causing some controversy in Minneapolis. The Park and Recreation Board wants to close West Minnehaha Parkway between South 50th and 51st Streets. Well, today marks the start to an exciting weekend of events coming up for St. Cloud State University with Homecoming 2019. All right, well, in studio now is Noah Cote to tell us more of whether or not it's going to be cold or warm this week for Thanksgiving. St. Paul police say thieves have taken off with 9 cars in just 2 days because all of them were already running. One of the reports says an actual U-Haul truck was stolen on Como Avenue. Well, as final votes are tallied around the country, voters in Minnesota have chosen who they want at the helm. We're learning more about the tragic deaths of a Minneapolis mother and her 2 young sons. Police say 53-year-old David Schledetsky murdered his ex-wife Kirsten and their 2 boys before killing himself on Sunday.